I'm gonna start with the elderberry syrup. Okay, so I have a recipe book and I'm hoping it's in there. That was one of the other things, is I didn't know if I had the recipe still. So this is all my recipes for my herbal remedies. Sorry if it's dark. I don't have a lot of lights. Not trying to get everybody up. It's my little apothecary. And we're gonna look in here and see what our elderberry syrup recipe is. I got it. So I'll tell you how to make it after I get all of my stuff. This, you can actually make this with not all of these. If you just have elderberries, that can be your elderberry syrup. If you have little things to add in like clove and ginger, cinnamon or something like that, gives it a different taste, so it's not so sweet. So I would recommend those just to balance out elderberry, because it's very, very sweet. And then with the syrup, you add like half honey to it. So, you know, you want to be careful of that, because you don't want to take it and be like, yeah. But this one pretty much tastes good if I can balance out the flavors of it correctly like I did last time. Give me a second. So I need, for mine, I'm telling y'all my recipe, but it doesn't matter because it's on somepeoplesanctuary.com for sale also if you don't want to make it. All right. I have echinacea, nettle, wild cherry bark. Let's start with those and elderberries. Ashwagandha, a good adaptogen, so if you don't feel good or if you feel something coming on, it also helps with mood. Oh, echinacea. This is actually the root. I usually have the leaves. The root might be a little bit stronger, which is pretty good. There is a proper way to use certain parts of different herbs depending on what you have. So a key thing to, sorry for the darkness, key thing to remember when you have certain herbs is you don't want to boil any leaves. You want to simmer, or no, you want to bring the roots to a boil. Like I said, I usually have, okay, I took out both. I'll just put this on the side, but I usually have the leaves of echinacea like this one, but I'm actually using a root today because it may be a little stronger. So you can see this is a root, and then you have a softer part of it, the leaf, which both can be very medicinal. You just do your research on what's stronger depending on what you need. But if it is a root, you bring all roots to a boil and simmer. If it is like a berry or a fruit, same thing. You bring it to a boil and simmer it. Now, that's the thing with my recipe. You kind of have to be careful because I do have root and like I have my nettle to add in here, and this is loose leaf. So after I do my boil and simmer for about an hour, I would then turn the heat off, add in the nettle for another 20 minutes or so, and then strain it. But you never want to boil leaves. It's always either pour it over, or I just kind of add it in on top, stir it in a little bit, and that's how you would do a concoction for if you had leaves and roots. So same for if you have teas. It's not bad if you have, you know, boiling water you pour over a root. It's just not going to be as strong. You get more into medicinal properties when you boil it up and simmer it. So if you ever have a tea that's kind of mixed in, something to kind of look, you know, be careful of, because again, to get the flavors out, like if you have berries or something, you have to bring them to a boil and allow them to simmer. So you want either like a tea with just roots in it or something, then you can add in, you know, other leaves if you want to add in different things, or you want just a loose leaf tea because you're going to prepare it differently. That makes sense. Okay, so the cinnamon, cloves, and ginger. Ginger I have in the refrigerator. Like I said, it's whole. I just bought it. I already have these broken cinnamon sticks, whole cloves. So for mine, we have echinacea, nettle, which is added in last again because it is a leaf. We have, skip out that part, elderberries. I add ashwagandha, ginger. I have cloves, cinnamon, and then you will have your honey that you add in. So this is our honey. It says it was made in Georgia. You do want to get honey similar to your region, so when the weather switches or you need something for like allergies and stuff, honey in your region would be really good because you'll get used to the area that the honey is in. That's what they say. Here, I use a certain pot for different herbal remedies, and I have all of my other stuff over here. So it's a little mini pot because I'm not making a huge thing of it because she's only gonna want some right now, and it does have like a shelf life. You can use it for about 36 months, you know, refrigerated safely. So this is my little pot for different things. Oil, it also is 2 of these. I think I got these from like TJ Maxx, but you can stack them so you can use them as a double boiler too if you need to do like a infused oil or something, because you don't want to just set the pot on there with the oil. You'll kind of burn everything. We would use distilled water. I have purified drinking water. That's what I use today. Right, and I'm not gonna do the ratio to it because, like I said, you just add twice as much honey when you strain out the liquid after you finish. And we'll see how to do that. I'm probably just making like a little pint jar. Not a lot. It's maybe about a cup or 2 of water. First order of business is elderberries. All my berries and my roots are going in first so I can boil them, simmer them for about an hour. I'm gonna say I use about 3 tablespoons or 4 of elderberries. I do not have recipes, you guys. It's by eyeballing. You will learn as an herbalist. Shouldn't books get too complicated, so use your head. I'm kidding. But yeah, go by instinct. Doesn't need to be that serious. Do a little bit of cinnamon chips. Like I said, I kind of like to balance out the sweet of the elderberries, so just go with what you feel. I'm trying to think of like 2 whole cinnamon sticks and broken pieces. Clove is very strong, but it balances out the sweet, so probably like a little teaspoon of or tablespoon of clove. I would say maybe. And just a little bit of an adaptogen, ashwagandha, help your body adapt to a new environment. So just a sprinkle. Okay, and then we're just doing the nettle last, so that's going to be to the side. And I have the echinacea root too to add, and then my ginger. Echinacea is a great blood cleanser. That's why I added into my elderberry syrup, because it's for like when the seasons change and you just need something to keep you, keep your immune system good. In small quantities, you can take it often, but blood cleansers you don't need to take for an extended period of time. So I'm gonna do that. All right, so I'll put these back up and go and get the fresh ginger. Okay, so fresh ginger looks like this. It's actually a bigger like claw that looks like a finger thing, but it's a rhizome. And actually, if you ever want to regrow ginger, all you do is you set it in soil like this with you want an eye on it, because that's where the rhizomes regrow other rhizomes, and you'll have ginger. And you do it in the springtime, throughout the summer, because you want it to be really hot. They do well in hot environments, but cool. So ginger piece, I'm going to cut this up into pieces, and wash it off. Wash it. All right, so we have our mixture in here. And I'm just gonna set it on the stove. And we're just gonna put it on high. It's gonna come to a boil. Then once it's starting to boil, reduce it to simmer for about an hour. So 8:55 on the clock, be about 9:55. And then we're gonna add in our nettle. Once it's done, shut the heat off, add in the nettle for another 20 minutes. So quick little morning, remedy if you have kids and stuff. Don't add all of that stuff for kids. You probably can do like elderberry and echinacea and stick with the leaves for babies. I make my son some. It's just elderberry and echinacea. They don't need all the other stuff. All right, so it's been an hour. We got little baby, and we're gonna turn this off and just add our few things of nettle in. About 2 to 3 tablespoons. Nettle's good for a lot of vitamins and minerals that you need. So when the seasons are switching and you need something a little extra in there, that's why I add a few extra things to my elderberry syrup. And we got another 20 minutes on the clock that we're gonna set for that. And then we're gonna strain this out. And what you do is once you have the liquid, you add twice the amount of honey as a liquid. So it's like a 1 to 2 ratio. 1 part water stuff, 2 parts honey. A lot of honey. All right, so that's it. So we'll be back in 20 minutes. Our elderberry mixture. I just have a measuring cup right here and a strainer inside of it. I usually use a cheesecloth, but it's not super fine herbs, so I think it'll be fine. And then after we measure what the quantity of this is, we're gonna add twice as much honey as that into the mixture. And that's how you make the syrup, because the honey actually acts as a preservative. So you want more honey than like water ratio. So let's strain it out. I have a clean glove, so I'm just gonna press this down to get the rest of the juice out. We have about 2 cups of the liquid. Okay. So we have about about 2 cups of liquid. So we're gonna add double that, which is about 4 cups of about 4 cups of honey. So let me go get a jar so we can put that into a jar, and I'll put this into a jar, then measure out the honey and add it into there. And then all you do is shake it up and you have an elderberry syrup to last throughout the winter. So 1 second. Okay, so I have a quart mason jar and a pint, because we're gonna see how much this fills up, but I kind of want to put hers into, her own pint jar. So we're gonna measure this. Let's see. Like I said, this almost makes 2 cups. So to that, we're just gonna add a little under 4 cups of honey. And I'm gonna take the top off because that's a lot of honey, and I don't want to sit here and press that thing for the longest. So let's do a little under 4 cups of honey. So I just have like a little under 4 cups just because this was a little under 2 cups. So we're gonna add this to it. See, we made about a gallon almost of elderberry syrup. This is a half gallon, my husband said. I don't know my quantities. Is this a quart? Okay, I was right on that. But this is a half gallon. My bad. Thank you for whispering that. My ratios are never right, you guys. Ever.
They're right, you just don't know what they're called.
I don't know what they're called. I know this is a jar and it has a gallon in it. That's all I know. Okay, and I'll probably separate this into the pint and into the quart because we still have a little bit of honey in that one. I don't want that to go to waste. I'm gonna give this a good stir. It's ridiculous. Okay, so there you go. We have a whole pint and quart of elderberry syrup. I'm sure it's cheaper than you buying a little bit in the store, which they usually sell them. And all this stuff is a lot higher because herbal products are expensive, and they should not be that expensive. But it does take a lot of stuff to make them. Like, you've seen how much honey we had to use. So from this pint and this quart, you can take this for a good bit of time. Like I said, this will last about 36 months in the refrigerator if you want. Some people even use it on the counter. I've had it on the counter before and nothing's really happened. Again, because the honey acts as a preservative, especially if you use twice as much honey as you do the liquid. So there's your remedy for the winter time. Again, if you want a recipe for babies, I would say do elderberry echinacea. If you're scared of the echinacea being too strong, just use elderberries, and that's good enough. So